The police chief issues a warning as a number of his officers receive their appointments. That's our top story in your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Friday, February 16. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. It was a big day for police officers today. 72 men and women from the Royal Barbados Police Force were presented with their letters of appointments during a ceremony at the District A police station. There are, however, reports that not everyone is happy with the latest promotions, and Commissioner of Police Tyrone Griffith is addressing the issue head-on. He urged his men not to be sidetracked by detractors.
There is a small core of persons who from time to time seek to divide this beautiful organization. And it's for you and those of you who are not elevated, who consider yourself deserving of elevation, not to allow that small core of people to divide you. None of you have elevated yourself, and certainly none of you have prevented others from being elevated. And so, I think the more reason for those who have been elevated and those who have not been, to understand that no one should get between you to divide this organization.
The National Union of Public Workers is describing its Black Friday initiative as a success. The union had urged its members to wear black as it steps up pressure on the Frundle-Stewart administration to grant civil servants a pay hike. Barbados Today visited several government offices and several workers wore black, while some in their regular uniforms displayed black armbands. NUPW President Akani McDowell says the strong response from the workers is a warning to government ahead of the upcoming general election. He said any sensible government knows that it has to make civil servants happy before the polls, and warned that the NUPW won't be backing down from its calls for a 23% salary increase. Opposition leader Mia Mottley is demanding that the government come clean on its latest fix of the sewage crisis. Last week, the government announced plans to dig a series of 300-foot injection wells to divert the sewage in the medium term. Minister of Water Resource Management, Dr. David Estwick, insisted it was the best option. But speaking to a packed auditorium at the St. Lawrence Primary School during a town hall meeting last evening, Mottley expressed serious doubt about the plan.
But what must happen is the conversation. I am not a scientist, but I have had represented to me that deep injection wells will cause you to be able to assess what is the temperature of the effluent and what is the temperature of the water with which it is mixing down there. And is it likely that that water will then coagulate and become like a gel that will then go through the pores in the ground? I don't know. But I believe that the Water Authority has a responsibility to be discussing with you, the people. I believe that the Ministry of Environment has a responsibility. And I believe that the Chief Medical Officer, forget John Boyce, he is irrelevant. The Chief Medical Officer, who is one of the most powerful people in this country. Because the Chief Medical Officer can shut down Barbados without anybody. Prime Minister, Governor General, nobody can get in the way of the Chief Medical Officer under the powers vested in that person in the laws of this land. And I am saying that there is sufficient concern and sufficient cause.
Meanwhile, the BLP leader is blaming the government for the sewage woes that forced the closure of businesses and affected households along Cheapside, Founder Bell and Lakes Folly in the city. She accused the authorities of failing to fix critical pieces of equipment at the Lakes Folly plant, which have not been working since 2013.
That as far back as December 2015, I indicated to you that critical equipment that had been damaged during the fire that dealt with the fecal chloroforms was not working. There was a subsequent statement by personnel. There was a subsequent statement by personnel of the Water Authority that confirmed what I've been saying. That's 14, 15 months ago. And whatever the reason is, it had to be a cruel irony that in the middle of the 5-hour speech of the Minister of Finance, that Bridgetown saw the closure of a number of businesses, large and small, government and private owned.
In other news, this Friday, the opposition Barbados Labour Party stayed away from Parliament today as government legislators continued debate on the estimates of revenue and expenditure. Leader of opposition business in the House, Cynthia Bradshaw, explained that the BLP had already made its contributions to the debate, but it was not prepared to continue to participate in meaningless contributions.
At this time when Barbados is in crisis, we, the opposition Barbados Labour Party, believe that we can only participate in meaningful discussion and debate if there is full disclosure of the true state of the economy. Otherwise, our contributions now become meaningless. We believe that we owe it to the public of Barbados to explain our decision to be absent from the House, and I give the country the assurance that we remain ready to participate in any discussions regarding the economy, provided that the true state of the economy is presented by this government.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To the region now, Mexico's foreign minister is to visit 3 CARICOM countries as part of efforts to erode Venezuela's influence in the Caribbean. Foreign media reports said that while there has been no official confirmation of the visit to Jamaica, Grenada and St. Lucia, the minister's visit comes on the heels of a recent trip to Latin America and the Caribbean by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who announced plans to study how possible oil sanctions against Venezuela could be mitigated in the Caribbean. A Mexican official whose name has not been disclosed says Mexico intends to let the region know that Venezuela is not the only country that can help the Caribbean. And on the international front in the U.S., Special Counsel Robert Mueller has indicted 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian entities for allegedly meddling in the 2016 presidential election, charging them with conspiracy to defraud the United States. The Department of Justice has also announced that 3 defendants were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 5 defendants with aggravated identity theft. We get more in this CNN report.
It appears this has to do with the Russian interference into the 2016 elections, and some of these individuals, we assume, are still in Russia and probably will maybe never be arrested by U.S. authorities. But this is the first action that we are seeing right now that directly relates to the interference that occurred in the 2016 election that President Trump still doesn't really believe actually occurred. Robert Mueller basically now saying not only did it occur, but we know who did it, and this includes this outfit in St. Petersburg, Russia, called the Internet Research Agency, which is the agency, the front for the Russian spy agencies that U.S. investigators believe was being used not only to manipulate social media, but also to foment, essentially help people, supporters of Donald Trump, and try to turn people against Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential race.
And that's news for this evening, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.pb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as Screenplay and supermarkets and gas stations near you. And don't forget, Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. To have a wonderful weekend.